Far across the galaxy, in a corner of space where stars glittered like diamonds, a massive alien observation station floated silently. It was a marvel of technology, tens of kilometers long, with towers of glass-like metal that reflected the light of distant suns. Inside, hundreds of alien scientists moved with purpose, their long fingers dancing over glowing panels. They spoke in soft, harmonic tones, discussing streams of data that humans could hardly imagine. For centuries, these aliens had explored the galaxy, mapping planets, observing life, and learning from the countless civilizations scattered across the stars. They had seen worlds of fire, ice, gas, and water. They had encountered beings taller than buildings, and creatures so small they were invisible to the naked eye. But today, something unusual appeared on their monitors, something that made even the most experienced scientists stop and stare. The signal was faint at first, almost like a whisper in the cosmic wind. It came from a small blue and green planet orbiting an ordinary yellow star. At first, the scientists thought it was a mistake, a glitch in the instruments. But as they analyzed the readings, it became clear that the signal was real. It was not random noise from a star or a passing asteroid, it was structured, intelligent. Dr. Vera, one of the lead observers, leaned closer to her screen. Her luminous eyes widened. "It's life," she whispered. "Not just life, intelligent life." Her colleague, Thalen, tilted his head in disbelief. "Are you certain? We have never recorded anything like this. Not from so far away. The patterns, they are deliberate." Vera nodded. "Every civilization we have studied sends out signals, but this is different. There is a rhythm, a pattern. It's like they are communicating, but they don't even know we are listening." The room buzzed with excitement. The aliens had discovered many intelligent species before, but something about this planet felt unique. It was small, fragile-looking, and yet it radiated a kind of life energy that was unfamiliar to them. The data showed sprawling forests, vast oceans, and tiny bright lights scattered across the surface, signs of cities and complex civilizations. For a moment, the observers fell silent, overwhelmed by the discovery. Then, as always, the debate began. Some argued that it was too early to approach, that contact might be dangerous. Others insisted that this was a moment that could change the course of their understanding of the galaxy forever. Vera raised her hand, calling for calm. "We cannot ignore this. We have watched countless civilizations rise and fall. But this one, it is young, small, yet powerful in ways we cannot yet understand. We must study it carefully." The aliens activated a series of long-range scanners, sending waves of observation beams toward the planet. The scans revealed cities glowing in the night, moving lights that indicated vehicles, and structures that reached for the sky. They even detected signs of communication: radio waves, signals bouncing between towers, pulses that hinted at a network of minds. "This planet is alive in ways we did not expect," said Thalen. "The complexity, it is remarkable for such a small world. The intelligence is raw, untamed, and curious, just like a newborn learning to walk." The observation station's AI systems began mapping the planet in detail, creating three-dimensional holograms that floated in the air. The aliens watched as oceans shimmered, mountains rose, and storms danced across the land. Each scan revealed something new, something to marvel at. Yet, for all their experience, the aliens could not predict what would come next. The signals continued, growing stronger, as if the planet itself were aware that it was being observed. Patterns emerged, some repeating at regular intervals, others seemingly random but with an underlying order. It was unlike any civilization they had encountered. Vera turned to her team. "Prepare a scout ship. I want to observe them up close, but not yet. First, we need to understand their nature, their capabilities. This is the first time any of us have seen a species like this. We must proceed carefully." The room hummed with anticipation. Everyone knew the risks. Contact with a new intelligent species could lead to great discoveries, or great danger. But the excitement outweighed the fear. They had seen countless civilizations, but none had sparked such fascination. Meanwhile, on the blue planet below, humans went about their lives, completely unaware that eyes from across the galaxy were watching them. Cities thrived, forests rustled, oceans teemed with life, and humans built, communicated, and dreamed. The first signals they sent into space were small, simple things: radio waves, broadcasts, accidental transmissions. But to the alien scientists, these signals were a window into a world full of potential. Dr. Vera paused, studying the planet's surface through the holographic projections. "They are small, fragile, but there is something in their actions, their patterns, that speaks of strength. I cannot explain it, but I feel it." Thalen frowned, curious. Strength? They seem primitive. Their technology is basic compared to ours. Their structures are fragile. Why do you sense strength? Vera smiled faintly. It is not the strength of machines or weapons. It is in the way they move, the way they create, the way they survive. They are resilient. They are capable of surprises, and that is rare in the galaxy. As the aliens continued their observations, the data from the blue planet grew richer. They detected signs of cooperation, intelligence, and emotion. Creatures working together, building, inventing, and even celebrating. It was chaotic but beautiful. The galaxy has never seen a species like this, said Thalen quietly. If we reveal ourselves too soon, we might scare them. But if we wait, who knows what they will achieve before we intervene? Vera nodded. Exactly. We observe. We learn. And when the time comes, we decide. But one thing is certain, this planet will not be forgotten. For the first time in centuries, the observation station's crew felt a thrill that went beyond routine exploration. They were witnessing the dawn of a civilization that might one day rise to challenge the galaxy in ways they could not imagine. And as the stars twinkled outside their windows, one question echoed in every mind. What is this small blue planet hiding, and what will it become? The first signals had been received. And the galaxy, silent and vast, was about to pay attention. The alien observation station buzzed with activity as the scientists studied the blue planet from afar. 4 days they had been monitoring the signals, mapping cities, tracking movement, and trying to understand the nature of this tiny, vibrant world. Every new detail brought excitement. Rivers winding through green valleys, oceans glimmering under the light of their sun, and creatures moving in ways that suggested intelligence, curiosity, and creativity. Dr. Vera stood at the center of the command room, her glowing eyes fixed on the holographic projection of the planet. It is time, she announced. We have observed enough from a distance. We need a closer look. Prepare the scout ship for departure. The alien crew moved with practiced precision. Their spacecraft was unlike anything humans could imagine. Sleek, silver, and glowing faintly with energy drawn from the stars themselves. It was designed to move silently and invisibly, to observe without being seen, and to adapt to any environment. The crew boarded the ship, their hearts filled with a mixture of excitement and caution. As the ship detached from the station, a hush fell over the observation room. Even the AI system seemed to pause, as if aware that something extraordinary was about to happen. Slowly, the scout ship drifted into the emptiness of space, guided by precise calculations, toward the small blue planet that had captured the galaxy's attention. Inside the ship, the aliens prepared their instruments. Cameras, scanners, and sensors were calibrated to detect even the faintest signs of life and technology. But more than that, they prepared themselves mentally. They were about to witness a world in its raw, unfiltered state, a civilization that had never seen another intelligent species. Captain Thalen, a tall alien with shimmering scales, spoke first. We must be cautious. Their technology is primitive compared to ours. We cannot risk revealing ourselves too soon. Vera nodded. Agreed. But we cannot ignore the possibilities. This is a unique opportunity to study a species in its natural state. Every civilization we have encountered has lessons to teach, but something about this one, it feels different. There is potential here. The ship glided silently through the void. Stars streaked past like rivers of light as the planet grew larger on their screens. From a distance, it looked fragile, delicate, almost vulnerable. The blues of the oceans, the greens of the forests, and the whites of the clouds were vivid, almost unreal. As they approached, the aliens marveled at the planet's beauty. Storms swirled across the oceans, creating patterns that seemed deliberate, like nature itself was communicating. Rivers cut through continents, forests stretched endlessly, and tiny lights blinked across the surface, the marks of cities and settlements. Every detail fascinated the crew. Dr. Vera activated high-resolution scanners, zooming in on the cities. From orbit they could see buildings, streets, and signs of movement. Humans, or whatever the inhabitants were called, moved with purpose, building, creating, and interacting in ways that suggested intelligence, emotion, and curiosity. Thalen leaned closer to the holographic display. They are small, fragile creatures, yet they are active, innovative, and persistent. Look at their energy systems, their transport methods. They are primitive, yes, but adaptable. And that adaptability, it is rare in the galaxy. Vera smiled faintly. We must remember that the galaxy has underestimated many species before. Potential is not measured by size or strength, but by curiosity, creativity, and resilience. This world may be small, but it could leave a mark on the stars. As they descended closer, the crew began to notice more details. Humans interacted in groups, sharing ideas, solving problems, and creating structures that seemed to defy gravity. Machines worked alongside them, yet the humans themselves displayed an energy and determination that no machine could replicate. Every human movement, every structure, every light flickering across the city spoke of potential, an energy the aliens found both mysterious and inspiring. "We are witnessing the beginnings of something extraordinary," said Thalen. "A species that has not yet touched the stars, but that might one day leave its mark on the galaxy." The ship adjusted its orbit to a lower altitude, just above the planet's atmosphere. From this vantage point, the aliens could see forests stretching for hundreds of miles, oceans teeming with life, and mountain ranges that pierced the clouds. Tiny creatures moved along the land, and the aliens realized that this planet was alive in ways they had not anticipated. It was not just intelligent, it was vibrant, complex, and full of surprises. Vera instructed the crew to begin subtle observation of human activity. They watched factories, cities, and communities. They observed humans laughing, arguing, inventing, and creating art. The aliens were intrigued by emotions displayed openly: joy, sorrow, curiosity, and determination. These were behaviors no machine could replicate, and the aliens found them fascinating. Thalen frowned. "They are primitive, yes, but their resilience, it is impressive. They survive harsh conditions, they build, they explore. There is a fire within them that is rare." Vera nodded. "Exactly. This is why we observe carefully. We must understand them fully before revealing ourselves. But even from a distance, it is clear, these beings have potential far beyond what we expected." The scout ship continued to circle the planet, recording data and sending it back to the observation station. The aliens remained vigilant, careful not to interfere with the humans' natural development. But every new observation only heightened their curiosity. How would these small, fragile beings respond if they ever realized they were being watched? What would they become if given the chance to explore the stars? As the sun rose over the planet, casting golden light across oceans and cities, the crew felt a mix of awe and anticipation. For the first time in centuries, they were not just observers, they were witnesses to the dawn of a civilization with limitless potential. Dr. Vera looked at the planet, her luminous eyes reflecting its beauty. "We have begun the journey," she said softly. "And this journey will change everything. For them, and for us." The blue planet glowed beneath them, innocent, vibrant, and unaware that eyes from across the galaxy were watching. The first step had been taken. The aliens had arrived. And the story of a small, fragile world poised to astonish the stars had only just begun. The scout ship floated silently above the small, blue planet, barely visible against the bright sunlight reflecting off the oceans. Inside, the alien crew watched intently, their attention fixed on every movement, every pattern of life below. This was the first time they were seeing a civilization so young, so raw, and yet so alive. From their orbit, the aliens could see the planet's cities glowing with activity. Tiny beings moved along streets and pathways, carrying objects, interacting with one another, building and repairing structures. Machines whirred alongside them, but the humans themselves were the most fascinating to observe. They worked together, shared knowledge, and created solutions to problems that arose daily. Dr. Vera adjusted the focus of a sensor to zoom in on a single city. The streets were full of life. Cars and buses moved in organized chaos, while humans walked along sidewalks, talking, laughing, and gesturing. Even small children could be seen playing in open spaces, their movements energetic and unplanned. The aliens were intrigued by these simple behaviors, something they had rarely studied in such detail. Captain Thalen pointed at the screens. "Notice how they communicate without machines. Their gestures, expressions, and vocal tones, they are complex. It is primitive by our standards, yes, but highly sophisticated in its own way." Vera nodded. "It is their adaptability that fascinates me. They improvise, create, and solve problems on the fly. There is unpredictability here, a quality most civilizations lose once they become advanced. It makes them unique." The aliens continued to scan, observing humans in factories, schools, and marketplaces. They saw people cooperating to construct buildings, transport goods, and grow food. There was no advanced AI controlling them, no drones to manage traffic, no automated systems to maintain order. Humans were chaotic yet remarkably effective. "Look at their creativity," Thalen whispered. "Even with simple tools, they build impressive structures, design intricate machines, and express themselves through art. They are driven by curiosity, by the desire to explore and understand." That is rare. Vera's attention shifted to a group of humans standing in an open field, looking at the sky. They pointed at the stars, talking animatedly, their voices rising and falling. Though the aliens could not understand their language, the gestures and excitement were clear. Humans wondered about the unknown. They dreamed of what lay beyond their world, just as the aliens themselves had once dreamed. They are aware, Vera said quietly. Not just of each other but of the universe beyond. And yet, they have no idea that eyes are watching from above. Their curiosity, it is raw and unshaped. That makes them dangerous, yes, but also inspiring. The crew zoomed in further, observing interactions within families and communities. Humans showed emotion openly, laughter, anger, sadness, excitement. They comforted one another, celebrated small victories and grieved losses. For the aliens who often suppressed emotion for efficiency and logic, this openness was both baffling and fascinating. Thalen shook his head. Such primitive beings, and yet there is a fire within them. They respond to challenges with resilience. They adapt to obstacles without waiting for external help. It is impressive. Vera turned her gaze back to the planet, studying sprawling forests and rivers that cut across continents. Humans lived alongside nature, building their cities carefully, harvesting resources, and yet disrupting the environment in small but noticeable ways. Even this, the aliens realized, was a sign of intelligence, an attempt to balance survival with growth. The team then observed human innovations. Vehicles that flew, machines that carried heavy loads, buildings designed to withstand storms. Humans were inventing solutions with limited knowledge and tools. To the aliens it was both amusing and impressive. Their species had mastered technology far beyond this level, but there was something inherently creative and unpredictable about humans. They are young, Vera said, but they have potential. If nurtured and protected, they could grow faster than any civilization we've seen. But potential alone is not enough. We must understand them fully before making contact. Thalen studied a group of humans repairing a bridge. Observe how they coordinate without central control. No AI directing their actions, no instructions from above. Yet they achieve their goal. That is rare in the galaxy. The aliens also observed human conflicts, arguments, disputes, and rivalries. At first glance, these seemed inefficient, even dangerous. But upon closer observation, the crew noticed that humans often resolved conflicts through negotiation, compromise, or creative problem-solving. It was messy, yes, but effective. And through these struggles, humans learned, adapted, and grew stronger. Vera leaned back, thoughtful. They are unpredictable. Their emotions, creativity, and adaptability make them difficult to assess, but also fascinating. Most species we encounter follow patterns. They are predictable. Humans are different. They can surprise you in ways both good and bad. As the day turned to night, the alien sensors picked up signals of human communication. Radio waves, light signals, and other broadcasts that pulsed into space. Humans were unknowingly sending information into the cosmos, a silent announcement of their existence. The aliens marveled at this unintended interstellar signal. They are broadcasting their presence, Thalen said. Even though they don't know it, they are reaching out to the stars. That is bold and dangerous. Vera nodded. It is also proof of their curiosity and resilience. They seek knowledge even unknowingly. That is what makes them worth observing. 4 hours, the scout ship orbited the planet, recording data, analyzing patterns, and observing the daily lives of humans. Each observation revealed something new: acts of kindness, bursts of creativity, displays of courage, and moments of joy. Humans were chaotic, fragile, and imperfect. But they were alive in a way that no machine or artificial intelligence could replicate. Finally, Vera turned to her crew. We have seen enough for now. Let us return to the observation station and analyze the data. But mark my words, this is only the beginning. The galaxy will remember this planet. And we must decide how we will approach it. Carefully, thoughtfully, respectfully. As the scout ship ascended, leaving the surface of the planet behind, the humans below continued their lives, unaware of the eyes watching from the stars. They laughed, worked, loved, and dreamed. Every small act of life, every spark of creativity, every challenge overcome was being recorded, analyzed, and appreciated by beings far more advanced than themselves. And the aliens, for the first time in centuries, felt a spark of something unexpected, a mixture of hope, curiosity, and awe. They were witnesses to the dawn of a civilization that had the potential to astonish the galaxy. For the humans of Earth, life continued as usual. But above them, eyes watched, minds analyzed, and the first true observations of an intelligent species from another world were complete. The stage was set. The journey toward first contact had begun. The scout ship had returned to the observation station, its hull shimmering softly in the station's dim light. Dr. Vera and her team had spent days analyzing the data they had collected from the blue planet below. Every detail fascinated them: humans' daily routines, their ingenuity, their emotions, and their strange, unpredictable behaviors. Yet, as advanced as their sensors were, the aliens had only observed. They had not yet interacted. "This species continues to surprise me," Vera said, reviewing a stream of communications intercepted from the planet. "They are sending signals into space unintentionally, but they are intelligent. They are trying to reach out in their own way even without knowing it." Captain Thalen looked thoughtful. "Their broadcasts are simple. Primitive radio waves, light pulses, and other transmissions. Nothing advanced. Yet the patterns suggest intelligence, curiosity, a desire to communicate even if they do not understand how far their signals travel." Vera nodded. "I propose we respond. Carefully. Subtly. We cannot reveal ourselves yet, but we can test whether they are ready for interaction. If they are intelligent enough to decode even a simple message, it will tell us a lot about their potential." The aliens began crafting a message. Simple, structured, and designed to be understandable without fear. A pulse of energy repeating in a clear pattern was sent toward the planet. It was subtle, disguised as part of the cosmic noise. To humans it was almost imperceptible, but some of their most advanced observatories picked it up. On Earth, in a small observatory, Dr. Elena Ramirez, a human scientist, squinted at her instruments. This doesn't make sense," she murmured. "The signal, it's too regular, too structured to be natural. Could it be artificial?" Her assistant, a young researcher named Leo, leaned over. "You mean extraterrestrial? You think someone out there is trying to talk to us?" Elena's eyes widened. "I don't know. But we have to investigate. We might be witnessing something historic." Back on the alien station, Vera and her crew watched the signals carefully, monitoring Earth's reaction. For days there was silence. Then, faintly, patterns began to emerge in human broadcasts, signals that mimicked the alien pulse. The humans were responding even without fully understanding the message. Thalen's scales rippled with excitement. They understand. In some way they are responding. This is remarkable. No other species has managed this without prior exposure to interstellar communication. Vera smiled. It confirms what I suspected. Humans are not just primitive creatures. They are intelligent, adaptive, and capable of understanding beyond their apparent limitations. Their potential is far greater than anyone in the galaxy anticipated. The aliens began to refine their communication attempts. They sent pulses of light, radio signals, and subtle energy patterns designed to catch human attention without alarming them. On Earth, Elena and her team started decoding the messages, recognizing sequences, repetitions, and patterns that hinted at intelligence. "The sequence repeats in a predictable way," Leo said, excitement rising in his voice. "It's like a code. Maybe they are trying to tell us something, or teach us something." Elena nodded, her mind racing. "This could be the first step in understanding beings from beyond our solar system. If we decode this properly, humanity will no longer be alone in the universe." Meanwhile, the aliens continued their observations, noting every human reaction. Some humans grew anxious while others grew curious. They debated among themselves, trying to understand the signal's origin. The aliens found it fascinating that humans displayed emotion while seeking knowledge, a combination of curiosity, fear, and courage that was rare in the galaxy. Thalen observed the humans with admiration. They are resilient. Even in uncertainty, they continue to search for understanding. They do not panic completely. They adapt, analyze, and persist. This is a species worth watching closely. Vera nodded. And this is only the beginning. Their ability to decode and respond to our messages shows that they have a level of intelligence and creativity most species achieve only after centuries of spacefaring technology. These humans are exceptional in their own way. As the days passed, communication continued in small bursts. The aliens learned patterns of human thought, discovered the basics of their technology, and observed their problem-solving skills. Humans had not yet realized the true origin of the signals, but they were trying, learning, and adapting. Every response from Earth was recorded, analyzed, and studied by the alien team. "This is the most fascinating encounter I have ever witnessed," Vera said. "We are observing intelligence in its purest, unshaped form. They are still young, still fragile, but the spark is undeniable. If nurtured, this species could astonish the galaxy. Even from orbit, the aliens could see the humans' ingenuity in action. Simple devices, clever machines, and creative experiments revealed a species capable of learning, adapting, and thinking beyond their immediate needs. The crew realized that these humans were not just surviving, they were striving, dreaming, and reaching for something beyond themselves. Thalen leaned back thoughtful. It is rare to find a species that is both primitive and capable of such innovation. They may not yet fly among the stars, but their minds are reaching for them already. Vera studied the glowing planet below. We must continue cautiously. Direct contact is still too soon. But this communication, it changes everything. The humans are ready to be noticed even if they do not yet know it. And when the time comes, the galaxy will see a civilization unlike any other. The scout ship returned to orbit, and the aliens prepared to report their findings to the wider council on the observation station. Every piece of data confirmed what they already suspected. Earth was alive, humans were intelligent, and the potential for something extraordinary existed. Above Earth, signals continued to ripple through the atmosphere, subtle pulses of energy that humans could barely detect. For now, communication was tentative and indirect, but it had begun. A connection had been made, even if the humans did not fully understand it. And in the quiet of space, the aliens watched, fascinated and hopeful. They were witnessing the birth of a story that could change the galaxy. A story that began with a small, fragile blue planet sending its first signals into the stars. For humans, life continued unaware, but something had changed. The universe was no longer silent, and their existence had been noticed. The first contact, though indirect, had begun. And both species, human and alien, were about to learn that curiosity, courage, and intelligence could bridge the vast emptiness of space. The stage was set for the next step, the moment when two civilizations, separated by millions of miles, would inch closer toward a meeting that neither could forget. The scout ship descended slowly toward the planet, its silver hull reflecting the sunlight. Inside, the alien crew watched the landscape below, a patchwork of forests, rivers, and glowing cities. They had observed humanity from orbit for weeks, even initiated subtle communication, but now the time had come to see the species up close. Dr. Vera adjusted the ship's instruments. "We must be cautious," she said. "Direct contact is risky. Humans are unpredictable, and we must ensure we do not cause fear or panic. Observation is still our priority, but proximity will give us far more information." Captain Thalen nodded. "Understood. We approach slowly, remain hidden if necessary, and record everything. Their reactions will be invaluable." As the ship hovered over a small city, the aliens activated cloaking mechanisms that made them invisible to human eyes. Below, people moved about their routines, unaware that beings from another world were observing them firsthand. Children ran in open fields, cars drove along streets, and humans carried out daily chores, their voices rising and falling in laughter, argument, and song. The aliens studied them closely. Every human movement, gesture, and expression revealed layers of intelligence and emotion. They watched as humans solved problems creatively, repairing machinery, redirecting water for farming, and negotiating conflicts. The aliens were fascinated by the resilience and adaptability displayed by such small, fragile beings. "They are remarkable," Thalen said quietly. "I have observed countless species, but humans, they are chaotic, yes, but their creativity and persistence are extraordinary." Vera nodded. "It is not the strength of their bodies that impresses me, but the strength of their minds. The spark of curiosity, the ability to adapt, and the will to survive. It is rare in the galaxy." The aliens decided to test human reactions further. They projected subtle illusions, light patterns, holographic shapes, and faint movements, just enough to catch attention without causing alarm. Below, humans paused, looking around in wonder and confusion. Some pointed at the lights, while others smiled or gestured toward the sky, sensing something unusual but not understanding it. Dr. Elena Ramirez, the scientist who had first noticed the alien signals, was among them. "Do you see that?" she asked her team. "Something is there. I can't explain it, but it feels intentional. Something, or someone, is observing us." The aliens watched her closely, noting how her curiosity drove her to investigate rather than panic. "This human," Vera whispered, "has the spark. She is open-minded, intelligent, and unafraid. She could be the one to help bridge the gap between our species when the time comes." As the day passed, the aliens ventured closer, descending to the outskirts of the city while maintaining their invisibility. They observed humans interacting, noticing subtle acts of kindness, courage, and ingenuity. A group of people worked together to repair a damaged building after a storm, while children played nearby, learning and laughing without fear. Thalen's eyes glimmered. They are small, fragile, and yet they persist. They cooperate, innovate, and adapt. Even their mistakes teach them lessons. Most species we have studied would have faltered long ago. These humans, they are extraordinary. The aliens decided to reveal themselves subtly to a select few humans. Using cloaking technology, they became partially visible, manifesting as shimmering figures that seemed almost like light and shadow. Below, humans froze, staring in disbelief, some dropping tools, others shielding their eyes. Fear, awe, and curiosity mixed in their expressions. Elena stepped forward cautiously, her mind racing. It's real, she whispered. They are real. And they are intelligent. Vera observed the humans' reactions closely. They are resilient. Their fear is natural, but their curiosity prevails. This is a good sign. It shows they can adapt to the unknown without destruction. Their minds are strong. The aliens made no sudden movements. They communicated not through words, but through images and light patterns, conveying calmness and understanding. Slowly, the humans began to respond, waving their hands, gesturing, and even attempting to mimic the patterns. The aliens noted the humans' adaptability. They were learning quickly, even without language to bridge the gap. Thalen spoke softly to the crew. Their intelligence is not in machines or weapons. It is in their minds and hearts. They innovate, cooperate, and feel deeply. That is rare. That is power. As night fell, the city below was illuminated by streetlights and glowing windows. The aliens remained partially visible, observing the humans' reactions under the stars. They noted not only intelligence but courage, creativity, and resilience. Even in fear, the humans sought understanding, reaching out in ways the aliens could recognize as sophisticated and profound. Vera turned to her crew. This encounter proves what we suspected. Humans are more than they appear. Their fragility is misleading. Their potential is immense. We must continue to observe, guide subtly if necessary, and wait for the right moment to fully reveal ourselves. The aliens began collecting more detailed data, facial expressions, patterns of thought, social behaviors, and even small inventions. Every observation reinforced their growing admiration for humanity. Unlike other species that relied solely on strength or technology, humans used creativity, emotion, and resilience to overcome challenges. This is the essence of HFY, Thalen murmured. Here is a species that, despite weakness and limitations, can rise above and leave an impression on the galaxy. They are worthy of our attention and respect. By the time the scout ship returned to orbit, the aliens had gathered enough information to begin forming strategies for future contact. They understood the risks but also the promise. Humanity was ready in small ways to be noticed. And the aliens were prepared to guide, observe, and learn alongside them. Below, humans continued their lives, unaware of how closely they had been watched, or how their first encounter with beings from another world had unfolded. Fear had mixed with wonder. Curiosity had triumphed over panic. And the first seeds of a galactic relationship had been planted. The stage was now set for decisions that could shape the fate of both species. The day when humans and aliens would truly meet, not as observer and observed, but as equals capable of learning from each other and reaching for the stars together. The first encounter had been made. And the galaxy, once silent and distant, was no longer so. Back on the alien observation station, the atmosphere was tense. The scout ship had returned from its first close encounter with the humans, and the data collected filled the holographic displays in the command room. Every alien present watched with a mixture of curiosity, concern, and awe. Dr. Vera stood before the council of senior scientists and strategists. "We have observed humanity directly," she announced, her voice calm but filled with excitement. "They are fragile, yes, and their technology is primitive. But their intelligence, creativity, and resilience are extraordinary. They adapt, innovate, and demonstrate qualities that most species never develop, even after millennia." A council member, a tall alien named Kralin, raised a hand. "Fragile and primitive. That is true. But they are unpredictable. They could destroy themselves or create chaos if provoked. Should we reveal ourselves fully? Intervene? Or let them develop naturally?" Vera shook her head. "Intervention could be catastrophic. They are not ready for full contact, but observation and subtle guidance are safe. We can study their social structures, innovation, and emotional patterns. They have potential that could astonish the galaxy." Another counselor, Elira, leaned forward. "Potential does not guarantee survival. They could misuse their abilities. Many species we observed have destroyed themselves before reaching interstellar capability. Why are we so certain humans are different? Vera's eyes glowed. Because they are unpredictable in ways that matter. Their resilience comes not from power or technology, but from creativity, cooperation, and emotion. They do not simply react, they innovate. They learn from mistakes. And above all, they care about one another. That combination is rare. Thalen, who had commanded the scout ship, spoke up. I have observed them firsthand. Even when frightened or confused, humans persist. They experiment, cooperate, and solve problems under pressure. This is not merely survival, it is growth. And growth is what allows a species to rise above the ordinary. The council murmured. Opinions were divided. Some argued for strict observation only, fearing that human unpredictability could trigger galactic consequences. Others saw humans as a diamond in the rough, a species that could shape the galaxy in unforeseen ways. Kralin shook his head. They are a risk. A fragile planet, limited resources, and uncontrolled emotions. What if they discover weapons capable of mass destruction before they understand responsibility? Vera replied calmly, that is why observation is crucial. We learn from them, guide them subtly if necessary, and ensure their development does not spiral into chaos. They are a species to nurture, not fear. We cannot predict exactly what they will become, but we can recognize the spark of greatness. Elira's scales shimmered in thought. And what if they surpass expectations? If they reach the stars before we intervene fully? Will we remain hidden or make our presence known? Their curiosity will drive them further than most species ever go. Thalen nodded. If humans reach the stars, they will astonish the galaxy. Their intelligence is coupled with courage, adaptability, and ingenuity. That combination is rare. They are capable of influencing worlds far beyond their own. That is why we must tread carefully, observing while guiding only when necessary. A young counselor, barely seasoned, spoke with a mixture of fear and wonder. So we watch, but do not interfere. They are fragile yet brilliant. And yet, we may be creating expectations or fear if they discover us too soon. Vera considered this. True. Timing is everything. Too early and they may panic or become aggressive. Too late, and we may miss the chance to observe their development from a critical stage. We must balance patience with vigilance. The debate continued, hours passing as the council weighed risks and possibilities. Maps of human cities, rivers, and communication networks were projected across the room, alongside data on their behaviors, innovations, and interactions. Every detail reinforced what Vera had seen firsthand. Humans were extraordinary, fragile yet strong in ways few species possessed. Finally, Vera concluded. We agree on one thing, humans are special. Their combination of intelligence, adaptability, creativity, and emotion sets them apart. They are fragile physically, but their minds and hearts are resilient. We must protect that potential. Our role is not to dominate, but to observe, understand, and guide when necessary. Thalen added, we must prepare protocols for gradual contact. First, subtle communication like we have begun. Later, selective appearances to individuals who can respond wisely. We must cultivate understanding and cooperation, not fear. The council agreed, though quietly, dissent remained. Not all were convinced humans could withstand full contact. But there was consensus that the species was worthy of observation and protection, a rare case in the galaxy. Vera studied the holographic projection of the blue planet below, shimmering with oceans and forests, cities and rivers. They are young, small and fragile, she said softly. But they have potential we have rarely seen. The galaxy has not yet understood what this planet holds. And perhaps, it never will until humans themselves rise to claim it. The debate had ended, but the work was far from over. Plans were made for further observation, subtle guidance, and communication experiments. Humans would be watched, studied, and gradually prepared for a future where the universe might finally acknowledge them. Outside the station, the stars glittered endlessly, silent witnesses to the debate. The humans below continued their lives, unaware of the council meeting that determined their place in the galaxy. And for the first time, the aliens realized something profound. These fragile beings, with their curiosity, courage, and intelligence, might change the galaxy in ways no one could predict. In that moment, Dr. Vera knew one thing. The galaxy had found a species worth watching, worth protecting, and perhaps one day worth meeting as equals. Humanity's journey had only just begun. The debate had ended, but the question remained. What would the galaxy become when humans finally realized their place among the stars? The small, blue planet continued its silent spin beneath the stars, unaware that the galaxy was watching. For centuries, humans had looked up at the night sky, wondering if they were alone. Now, for the first time, beings far more advanced than themselves were preparing to make their presence known. Dr. Vera stood on the bridge of the observation station, her luminous eyes fixed on the holographic projection of Earth. "The time has come," she said softly. "We have observed, learned, and communicated subtly. Humanity is ready. Now we reveal ourselves carefully to a select few." Captain Thalen nodded. "We must ensure the first encounter is one of understanding, not fear. They must see us as allies, not threats." The aliens deployed a small craft, shimmering with energy and cloaking mechanisms, to descend to a remote area on Earth. The location was carefully chosen, far from large cities where humans could react without mass panic, yet accessible to a few curious minds who had already detected the alien signals. Below, Dr. Elena Ramirez and her team monitored the unusual readings that had first drawn their attention. Instruments were registering strange energy patterns, light pulses, magnetic fluctuations, and signals that seemed almost alive. Elena's heart raced. "It's happening," she whispered. "We're about to witness something beyond anything we've imagined." As the craft approached the Earth's surface, a faint glow appeared in the clearing where the scientists had gathered. Slowly, the cloaking technology was reduced and shimmering figures became visible, tall, elegant, and radiant beings, unlike anything humans had ever seen. Their movements were graceful, deliberate, and calm, and their very presence seemed to radiate intelligence and understanding. Elena and her team froze, staring in awe. For a moment, silence filled the air, broken only by the rustling of leaves and the faint hum of the alien craft. Fear and amazement warred within them, yet curiosity won. They took cautious steps forward, trying to understand these visitors. Vera stepped forward from the craft, her glowing eyes meeting Elena's. She did not speak in words, yet a subtle energy conveyed calmness and goodwill. Images and simple concepts formed in the humans' minds, a gesture of peace, a promise of understanding, a willingness to share knowledge. Elena's voice trembled, but she spoke. I don't know how to say this. Welcome." The aliens responded with a series of shimmering light patterns, and though no sound came, humans understood. It was a greeting, a recognition of intelligence, and an invitation to learn. Slowly, the fear that had gripped the humans melted into wonder. Thalen observed closely. They are responding as expected. Curiosity overcomes fear. They are intelligent, adaptable, open-minded. This is what makes humans extraordinary. Vera continued to communicate through visual energy patterns, showing humans glimpses of their technology, their knowledge of the galaxy, and their peaceful intentions. Humans marveled at the information, struggling to comprehend the vastness and complexity of beings so far beyond their experience. Yet, in their eyes, Vera saw understanding, the spark of intelligence that had fascinated the aliens from the first signal. Elena asked a question aloud, almost to herself. "Why us? Why now?" Vera's energy pattern shifted, conveying a simple message: potential, curiosity, courage. You are a species capable of growth beyond your understanding. The galaxy has noticed. The humans absorbed this. Slowly they realized they were no longer alone. Their planet, once a small blue dot in the vast cosmos, was now part of a larger story, a story that spanned stars, civilizations, and possibilities they had only dreamed of. As the encounter continued, the aliens revealed glimpses of the galaxy, maps of star systems, images of distant worlds, and hints of civilizations that humans had never imagined. Yet they did not overwhelm the humans. They showed enough to inspire awe and wonder, leaving questions unanswered, encouraging curiosity and exploration. Thalen whispered to Vera, "They are ready. Not all of them, but the ones we have chosen for this encounter. Humanity will grow, and when the time comes they will reach the stars. And the galaxy will remember them." Vera nodded. "They are fragile, yes, and still young. But the spark is undeniable. We have seen courage, resilience, and intelligence in their actions, even before they fully understood us. That is what makes them worthy." As the first encounter drew to a close, the aliens retreated subtly, leaving humans with instruments, clues, and knowledge that would ignite a new era of curiosity and exploration. No panic, no chaos, only wonder, understanding, and a seed of possibility planted deep within their minds. Elena and her team watched the shimmering figures fade, their hearts filled with excitement and hope. "We are not alone," she said softly. "And one day, we will see the universe." Above, in the vast silence of space, the aliens returned to their station. The Council would soon receive reports of the encounter, and plans would be made for gradual expansion of contact. Humanity had been observed, understood, and finally acknowledged. The first step had been taken, carefully and with patience. Vera gazed at the blue planet below, a sense of pride and hope swelling within her. "They are young, fragile, and unpredictable," she said. "But they have potential, and the galaxy will never forget Earth." From this moment, Earth's story was no longer limited to its own skies. The tiny blue planet had been discovered, studied, and acknowledged. Humanity's journey into the stars had begun, not with war, not with fear, but with curiosity, courage, and the recognition that even the smallest species could leave a mark on the galaxy. And somewhere in the endless expanse of space, other civilizations would watch, wondering, learning, and perhaps preparing to meet this young species that had captured the attention of the galaxy's most advanced observers. For the first time in human history, the universe felt close. And for the aliens, the promise of humanity was clear. A species worth watching, worth protecting, and capable of astonishing the galaxy. The new chapter had begun.